First, kind of just tell me in a nutshell. I know you guys posted a report yesterday. Kind of just tell me. I know that the catchy title of it seems that Texas officials, lawmakers are reducing funding from the border wall effort, which was a big priority a couple of years ago under the prior administration. What did you guys find out?
The big news that we learned is that Texas has quietly stopped funding its border wall program. This was part of Operation Lone Star, Governor Greg Abbott's border security initiative that the state had begun in 2021. The state had planned to build 805 miles of border wall along the Rio Grande. So far, they have built 65, and they have enough money from the initial funding to get to about 80. But after that, they will only have a little bit less than 10% of the program done, and they've decided to not pay for any more.
So I reached out to the governor's office and they sent a statement that you guys also have. Basically, it boils down to them saying, oh, now that Trump is in office, they don't have to focus as much on the border, but will still be a partner on the border. What did you hear from? I know you spoke to Joan Huffman and some other lawmakers. What did they say about the pulling of funds from this?
Mhm. So, similar approach from the other Republicans in state government. Governor Abbott, when he started the border wall program 4 years ago, said the number one reason that he was doing it was because, in his view, President Biden was not doing a good job securing the border. President Trump was reelected last year. Governor Abbott obviously welcomed that. In his view now, President Trump and his administration are doing a much better job on border security. So therefore, Texas does not have to have that as much of a state focus. The federal government under President Trump does plan to build new border wall in Texas. However, in the first Trump administration, they only built about 21 miles of wall. That's a much slower pace than Texas has been able to do on its own.
And when it comes to the funding, do you know how much money had been? I know some were state resources and they put up a website asking people to donate if they wanted to. Do you know how much was in the pot and how much has been removed from the pot already?
Yes, so the wall so far has had about $3 billion in taxpayer money that the legislature has appropriated. Governor Abbott did ask for private donations as well. The state got about $50 million for that, so it's a pretty insignificant share of the total cost. To build the whole wall, that's the 800 miles, we estimated last year that based on the pace and the cost per mile so far, that the project would cost more than $20 billion and take about 30 years to build. So it was a real problem for the legislature because they would have to come back essentially every 2 years, make a big appropriation on a wall when it wasn't even clear that they would be able to finish it because our investigation last year found that about a third of landowners the state was approaching were saying that they didn't want wall on their property, and the state is not forcing anyone to do that. So that was a problem for them.
And just lastly, do you know how these funds have been diverted or how much funds have been diverted, I guess maybe this year since lawmakers just finished the session?
hmm So the legislature, early in the session, in January, for example, they were thinking about appropriating about $6 billion in new spending for border security. In the last days of the session, when they were finalizing the budget, they cut that figure down to $3 billion. So what they cut out was funding for the border wall. What they kept is the other parts of Operation Lone Star, like putting state police and state guard members on the border to help with border security that way. So the money that is remaining is largely for that human labor and not the physical barrier of the wall.
Is there anything else that I didn't ask that you guys found in your reporting?
I just think the big question mark here is how much the federal government steps up or doesn't in terms of picking up where Texas had left off. Like I said, the federal government has built wall in the past and plans to under this Trump administration. It's been very slow at doing so. The state has also secured more miles of land than they currently have money to build on. So one of our outstanding questions is what's going to happen with the land that they have gotten? Are they going to give it back to landowners? Are they going to try to turn it over to the federal government? That's a big question going forward.